Central precocious puberty, also known as CPP, occurs in 1 out of every 5 to 10,000 children and is more common in girls. If left untreated, children with CPP may not achieve their normal adult height. For the majority of children with CPP, there is no known cause. Central precocious puberty is an endocrine disorder triggered by the early release of the hormones by the glands in the brain that are responsible for puberty. This often launches a child into sexual maturity at an earlier age than usual, meaning prior to age 8 in girls and age 9 in boys. Joining me today is Sonia McTillman, Director of the Precocious Puberty Division at the Magic Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping children with rare growth disorders. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sonia, in addition to your responsibilities at the Magic Foundation, you're also a mom of a daughter with CPP. Can you share your journey to diagnosis with us? For example, what were some of the signs or symptoms?
When Sydney was 3, I noticed that her physical development was advanced more than it should have been for a 3-year-old. Sydney appeared to have what looked like breast development. She was also very moody. Her moods were almost that you would think of as a teenager having. Just things that were really alarming to see in a 3-year-old. It was very concerning. So I talked with our pediatrician about our concerns, and he suggested that we monitor Sydney's growth, and over the next few months we monitored any other symptoms that she might have, those that you would think of as typical puberty symptoms, like body odor, body hair, her growth being accelerated, so we monitored those for a few months.
Those are things you saw at 3 years old?
Those are things I saw at 3 years old, yes. We learned that even though Sydney was 3 and starting this process, she was really on the early end of the spectrum for kids that have central precocious puberty. Based on the fact that I've been able to check off several things on that list that he gave me to monitor for, we got a referral to the pediatric endocrinologist. And the pediatric endocrinologist is a doctor that specializes in monitoring children's growth rates. He explained that Sydney would be undergoing a series of tests to determine if she had this condition called central precocious puberty. We started the diagnostic process, which includes doing blood work to monitor for pubertal level hormones. We had a physical exam. She also had to do an MRI of the brain to exclude that there might have been something going on in the pituitary area, and a bone age exam. The bone age exam can determine if a child is advanced beyond where they should be as far as their growth is concerned.
So what did the pediatric endocrinologist suggest?
He suggested that we explore the different options that are available for slowing puberty down and really putting it on hold for a time so that Sydney could be allowed to grow at a more typical pace.
So I have to ask, how did you explain all this to Sydney?
I explained to Sydney that her body was doing things that just weren't typical for her age. They were typical for bodies to do, but just not at the age that she was. So we were going to work with a doctor that was going to help slow things down.
So that must have been a stressful time. How are you feeling?
It was an unbelievable stressful time for me because as a mom, you know, if you think something's wrong with your child's growth or development, you're trying to find answers. And I remember during those early stages of being up on my laptop at night searching symptoms, searching, you know, the condition and just wanting to know more information. And it was at that time that I found the Puberty Too Early website, pubertytooearly.com, and that gave me a lot of information. And I also stumbled across our Magic Foundation website, and our acronym stands for Major Aspects of Growth in Children. So we help families all over the world whose children have growth conditions, including central precocious puberty. Our Magic Foundation website is a great resource. You can learn more about my personal story in Sydney being diagnosed, and you also can learn about great resources and sort of guides and things that you can do if you suspect that your child has this condition, things that you can do and take to your pediatrician and your pediatric endocrinologist if the child is actually diagnosed.
So how is Sydney doing now?
Sydney is doing fabulous now. She was treated for 5 years for central precocious puberty, and she just ended treatment a few months ago, but she's doing awesome.
Thank you so much for the education today on CPP, and especially for sharing your personal story with us. And I'm so glad that Sydney's doing better now.
Thank you.
For more details on CPP and the information discussed today, visit pubertytooearly.com, and you can always go to our website, accesshealth.tv, and we'll see you next time.